This is a rest day practice that is designed to be used during your ovulatory phase. It is, of course, gentle enough to be used anytime that you need sort of a more active rest day practice. But one of the reasons I love to develop this type of ritual, so coming to your mat, coming to your movement space, even on days off, is that it helps with consistency. So when you know that you can show up for rest in the same way that you show up for your most intense workouts, it starts to feel a little bit easier. You start to look forward to it because you have that variability that maps onto what's happening in your inner chemistry. So I love incorporating these active rest days to really, one, have you looking forward to your days off, and two, just keep that thread of consistency throughout. These are very useful during the ovulatory phase when heightened arousal sometimes needs a little bit of balancing, that balancing force to help keep us grounded. So when estrogen and testosterone are climbing, you might feel both the physical arousal, but mental arousal as well. And that can come out as feeling a bit wired. Maybe you have more irritability or more heightened emotions. And a practice like this can help kind of balance that energy out. So we'll start in a seated position and just kind of get comfortable. So shift forward and back on the sitting bones until you feel kind of that balance point in the center. You can sit cross-legged if you like, or any way that your legs feel comfortable. And if this is too much flexion in the knees, you can always take most of this practice seated in a chair. We'll begin with a side bend here. So first, inhale, reach the arms nice and tall overhead, stretch through the fingertips. See if you can lengthen as you soften the shoulders in the opposite direction towards the hips. And then as you exhale, take your left hand down, right arm stretches up and over. Start to rotate that top shoulder open, expand into the side waist with the breath. Big inhale and slow exhale. As you gently come up, take your right hand to your left ear to facilitate a deeper neck stretch, but let this be very gentle. So we're not forcing the neck in any way, just creating a little bit of additional traction here. At the same time, stretch through your left fingertips in the opposite direction. You might move your arm forward and back until you feel that stretch that you need. Creating length now in the left side. Last big breath here. As we exit this stretch, once again, reach both arms overhead, big inhale, and to the opposite side. Right arm comes down, left arm stretches up and overhead. So we're starting to explore the spine as well, breathing in and out through the nose. Reach through those left fingertips, ground the left hip crease, left sitting bone to the mat. Create that anchor point that you can stretch from. And then slowly come up, take your hand to opposite ear. Encourage your left ear to your left shoulder. So again, rather than pressing down, it's almost like you're stretching out and away from that right shoulder. Stretch the right fingertips out. And just kind of move that arm forward and back. Again, just exploring the difference in the stretch. And then slowly coming out, reach both arms overhead. Big inhale. As you exhale, take your hands, interlace them behind your head. Take your elbows nice and wide. Big inhale to lift the heart. Draw the low ribs in and the hip points up. So we're really trying to isolate the upper back here. So stretching across the upper back and chest. And then as you exhale, round in, draw your elbows towards the midline, chin to chest. Notice where you feel this in the spine. Inhale, open. We'll do twice more like that. Big breath in. And exhale, close. Last one like this. Huge breath in. Stretch the chest and heart open. And then slowly exhale. Come back up to your neutral spine. Relax your hands by your sides. Here, start to take some shoulder shrugs. So shrug your shoulders as high up as they'll go and then let them softly fall away. So again, here in this joint support practice, we're not looking for maximum effort, maximum stretch or force, but instead more of that softening, that fluid flow. You can take your hands to your shoulders, maybe circle the elbows, just kind of exploring now the shoulder joint, that beautiful joint that moves in all directions, just allowing us this tremendous mobility, this tremendous function throughout the day. Nice big shoulder circles. And then slowly release your hands to your knees. Start to circle the torso. So come nice and deep towards the front and then around in the back. So imagine you're on the inside of a singing bowl and you're trying to capture every surface of the inside of that bowl. So nice wide circles here, nice and slow. Continue breathing deeply in and out through the nose, reverse direction, nice and smooth, so there's no jagged edges. And sometimes this practice of simply circulating the spine can be just enough. Last one here. And come back to center. Once again, find your balance. So you might shimmy and shake side to side until you feel that center point. Bring your hands together, interlace the fingers, and start to circle the wrists one direction and then the other. So here we're kind of warming the fingers, improving circulation into the hands, trying to create space in the wrists. A lot of our strength training practice, a lot of our power yoga practice, there's pressure on the wrists. So this very small joint bearing a lot of load. If you're in weight training, you're holding dumbbells or holding barbells. So just giving the wrists a little bit of love to improve that circulation and allow things to move through. Coming back through center now, cross at the wrists. Turn your palms inward so that your pinkies are facing up. And then once again, interlace the fingers. Straighten your arms, really reach through the arms. And then wrap your wrists in and through. So coming into this kind of twisted position. And this one, just kind of a static stretch to get that internal rotation of the wrists and create more length in the forearms. So you might kind of rock the wrists forward and back. A lot of wrist strain comes when we have tight forearms. So when there's that tension in the lower part of the arm and the blood flow is restricted. So here we're just encouraging that. And then you can release your hands down, take the heel of one hand and up in towards your shoulder and the heel of the opposite hand down towards the mat. We're going to take the heel of that top hand and just gently massage the forearm. So this again is increasing circulation and aiming to relieve any tension that might be pulling on the wrists from the forearm. Switch sides, so bring that opposite hand down, fingers pointing back toward you, heel of the opposite hand, knead that lower arm, so the forearm from the eye of the elbow all the way down. I know for me this one feels pretty intense. But just know that even creating that warmth, that circulation, that gentle touch, that draws blood flow to this area to increase circulation, nutrition. And last one, slowly release. Take your hands behind you now, bring your feet out in front. Let your feet be nice and wide and simply windshield wiper the knees side to side. So here we have both external rotation and internal rotation of the hips. We're starting now to move into the joints of the lower body, really kind of feeling which rotation maybe needs a little bit of love. So for me, internal rotation of the hips is always a bit tight. I do a lot of work with external rotation and have kind of a strong outer glute and maybe a little bit of weakness in the inner thighs. So that tends to make it harder for the hips to internally rotate. Last few here. And slowly come back to center. We're going to cross one foot in front And then take the opposite hand and thread your fingers through your toes. So if it doesn't happen today, don't sweat it. This takes kind of a lot of mobility in the feet and toes. But if you can wiggle your fingers in there, thread your fingers between your toes, wrap your opposite arm under to sort of cradle the shin. And then here we're going to guide the foot around. So the key here is to let your ankle relax. I know it's hard when you're in this position. The ankle sort of wants to support itself, but if you can, just imagine letting everything go in the lower leg that you're supporting. So letting your hand rotate the ankle for you. Reversing directions here. And then again, as you're doing this practice, this is a practice of self-care, of self-love. So how can you sort of create that mindset and elevate your energetic quality to support the effort? So support that act of self-care. So even as you're simply sort of rotating your feet here, can you send love to your ankles? Thank your ankles for the support. Thank your feet. And then pause in the middle. We're going to point and flex the toe in a supported way. So you're using the hand to make that happen. Again, try to let your foot completely relax so that it is in the receptive mode. So it's that feminine lunar quality of receiving. You can stretch the top of the foot and the sole of the foot here. And then we'll slowly just start to cradle the shin with both hands. So bring the arms out and just cradle, rock side to side. So again, just kind of taking the load of the leg into your arms so that you can lighten the weight into the hip and just kind of allow it to move, to shift from side to side. And then we'll switch, take your other foot into your opposite hand. Once again, threading the fingertips through those toes. Again, if it doesn't happen, you can always just grasp the toes together. But if you can, try to thread those fingers through. And maybe you get through some, but not all. For me, that pinky one is a pretty challenging space to navigate. And then we just start to circle the foot, the ankle. Again, here you might close your eyes and just breathe into the experience. So where do you feel the sensation? And it requires a conscious effort to let go, to let your ankle completely relax. So sometimes closing the eyes can help deepen that awareness. Circling one direction and then the other. And at the same time, just paying attention to what the rest of your body is doing. So is your upper back hunching over? Can you create a little bit more space there? So even as you are focusing in the lower body, you have that postural strength, that postural balance in the upper body. Last few breaths here. And then we'll point and flex the foot, so bending the toes back. Again, here without force, so it's a facilitated stretch, but you're not forcing the foot into any position that feels strain or pain. So here, just kind of helping develop more mobility in the sole of the foot and increase circulation in the toes. And then we'll cradle that shin here in both arms. Once again, taking the load of your leg into the arms and allowing that hip to slide side to side. Breathing deeply in and out through the nose. So this practice can also facilitate that connection to your parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest mode, so that your off days are more effective. They're more restorative and they help you recover. So the more that you can kind of tune into that rest and digest mode, the more your body can go to work healing, recovering, restoring your energy, restoring the muscles that have been working so hard for you in the first half of the cycle. Last big breath here. And release. We're going to shift now into a kneeling position. So the shins are parallel and let the toes stay tucked under. So you're on the ball mounds of the feet. And then we're going to sit back onto the heels. So as best as you can, keep the shins hugging into the midline. Try not to let them flare out. And we're sitting right on top of the heels. So the stretch is happening here in the calf, in the soles of the feet. And notice your pinky toes, if they tend to tuck under, you might just encourage them to flare out so that you're pressing evenly through all 10 toe pads. So you've got that stretch, that broadening of the toes. Keep the knees both pointing forward, just enjoying this stretch. So see if you can heavy the hips onto the heels. Last big breath. This one can get a little bit intense, especially if you have any tension in your feet. And then slowly come up to a full kneeling position. You can untuck the toes now. Take your right arm under left, find eagle arms. So I'll turn to the side just so that we can still be looking at each other here. And then we'll just add a bit of flow for the spine. So as you inhale, reach those arms up, arc in the upper back, take your thumbs toward your forehead and guide them up towards the ceiling. And then coil through the belly, start to round the spine, draw your elbows towards your knees. Inhale, re-extend. See if you can articulate bone by bone. Come all the way up. Lift the elbows skyward. And then coil in through the belly, round. Feel that stretch across the upper back. Squeeze the elbows and forearms to the midline. Last one like this. Big inhale. Create space between the bones and then curl into that space. Come back up to a kneeling position, release your arms, shake out the shoulders. This time you can leave your feet flat. We're coming into now stretch the tops of the feet, so the shins. You can rest your hips on your heels once again. And just notice, for me, my heels tend to want to splay out to the sides. So can you hug them in and keep that alignment? That'll give you a deeper stretch across the front of the shin and the top of the foot. Same thing we did when the feet were flexed. Really flare the toes, spread them out wide so that you feel the tops of the toes connected, all 10 of them, to the mat. Stretching the front of the leg now. You might even lean back a little bit if that feels okay. Really kind of alleviating any strain in the ankles. And then we'll slowly start to come back up to kneeling once again. This time left arm comes under right for eagle arms. Same thing, we'll add our little bit of flow here. So as you inhale, lift up and out through the chest. And then exhale, coil, round in, create that energy to the center. Inhale, open, lift, breathe, and exhale, coil in. So notice any places where you get stuck in the spinal extension, so in the back bend. Can you lift up and out of the hip creases so we're not crunching into the lower back, but it's staying long and spacious. Last one here, big inhale. And slowly curl it in. From here, we'll come back up to kneeling. I'll turn to face the short edge of the mat. We're coming into tabletop. Let the wrists be under the shoulders, the hips directly over the knees. So you might start to feel, even with just a little bit of wrist love for me, sometimes I feel a pinching as soon as I come into weight bearing on the hands. But today, after that stretch and that circulation, they feel just fine. So spread the fingers, press through all 10 finger pads. Here, circulating cat and cow. So as you inhale, shine your sitting bones back, let the tailbone initiate the movement, and then ripple up the spine all the way to the crown of the head. And then reverse it from the sitting bones, wrap them under, coil through the lower back, mid back, upper back, chin to chest, let your head hang heavy, press through your hands. Inhale, once again, articulate bone by bone all the way from tail to crown. And then from your sitting bones, curl under, round in, let the head drop. Last one here, big breath. See if you can map the movement onto the breath. So let the breath dictate how far you go, how fast you go, and come back to neutral. We're going to move into a thread the needle flow. So you start in your tabletop, and we're going to take the right arm up and open. Really reach through the fingertips and thread that arm under, but just let it hover. So feel that rotation. Aim your right ear towards the mat. Inhale, open. So full rotation in the spine here. Just acknowledging, celebrating how much it can move. And also just exploring that notion that the upper body can move independently from the lower body. So can you keep the hips more or less stationary and just allow the upper back to move? That can free any stuckness that you might have where the upper and lower back are sort of tied together through tension in the spine. So here we let that go, we let that dissipate. And this time hold in that thread the needle stretch. You can let the arm rest. Work to square the hips. Spider your left fingertips and press down into the mat to twist open. Just one more deep breath here. And let it out. We'll slowly come out. Take that right arm up. And then wrap the right arm around so that your forearm is aligned with your lower back. Drop the right shoulder so that hips and shoulders are square to the floor. And then from here, we're simply going to take the left ear towards the left shoulder. Keep that right forearm anchored. Feel a deep neck stretch here. And gently return right hand to meet the left. Here we're going to flip the grip, so the fingertips facing the knees now. And once again, we'll move through cat and cow spine. So aim your shoulders directly over your wrists, hips are over the knees, and we'll move through 3 to 5 rounds of cat and cow. Inhale, shine the sitting bones back, lift the gaze, and exhale round. So here we're really stretching the forearms as well. So press through the heels of the hands and the finger pads. Inhale, extend the spine, and exhale, release. Let your breath make a sound. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, round in. Come back to your neutral spine. You can flip your hands once again. Thread the needle on the left side now so the right hand stays planted. Inhale, left arm opens. Stretch through the left fingertips and flow. So take that left arm under. Just let it hover. Feel that rotation, all that access. And then open it back up. So we have that gentle core stabilization here as we're keeping the hips square and anchored. And then we allow the freedom in the upper back to rotate, to move. Last one like this, big inhale. And then thread the needle hold. So let that left ear come down to the mat. Spider your right fingertips, press down into the earth to curl the right shoulder open. Keep coiling through the belly to stabilize the hips. And then as you come out, send that left arm high. Bring the left forearm to your lower back. Drop the left shoulder down so we're squaring shoulders and hips. And then take the right ear to right shoulder. Again, just increasing the blood flow and the pathways for that movement in the neck. And then slowly release the hands down. We'll start to come onto one side. So let your hips drop down. And then we're going to transition onto the back. So in your own way, lowering all the way to the back, giving the legs some love before we finish our practice. Keep your left leg extended. Hug your right knee into chest. And then slowly take your hands behind your right thigh and just start to bicycle that right leg. So extend it all the way out, bend it all the way in. So nice wide circles. And just allowing the hip now to move in this sort of straight forward plane. So we're not adding any of the lateral movement, just forward and back for now. Reverse the direction. And then once again, hug the back of your thigh in towards your body. So you're aiming right thigh towards your belly. Press the heel of the foot towards the sky. See if you can engage the right quadricep to help straighten that leg any amount. Press through the big toe side of your foot and the pinky toe side evenly. So you've got that nice aligned ankle. And then start to circle the ankles. Point and flex the foot. So here we're allowing blood to flow down. We're getting a little bit of that inversion quality, so more blood to the heart, and that signals the heart to slow down. So when we have that higher volume in the inverted position, it helps slow the heart rate and again, trigger that parasympathetic nervous system response. This can be a great movement for knee pain. So if you address kind of the joint above and below the knee, that can help alleviate strain. So a great option if you are experiencing any knee pain. And then from here, we'll just kind of let the bottom leg be nice and loose and just kind of shake it out. And then we'll start to take that right knee wide, come into half happy baby pose. So you might use your left hand to anchor the left hip and then encourage your right knee down beside you. Press the sole of the foot towards the sky. You can reach for inner or outer edge, whatever feels most natural for you. And then taking that knee now across the body, spinal twist. You can gaze over your right shoulder. Really let your right knee be heavy, so we're giving the weight of that right leg to gravity. So this can be a passive twist, not forcing or sort of moving from the outside in, but just letting gravity draw that right knee towards the earth. And let your hips move here so they don't have to be anchored. They don't have to be in any particular position. I do encourage you to keep your shoulders grounded as best as you can. As you come back through center, across that right ankle over left knee, bend the left knee into your chest. So supine pigeon pose. This one's so great for creating length in the outer hips, which can alleviate back pain, can alleviate hip flexor discomfort. So you might rock side to side here. I like to use that same side elbow to just kind of press the knee open. And again, look for movement in these stretches. So rather than becoming rigid or kind of forcing the stretch, just allow that little bit of movement, that little bit of flow. Almost a signal to your body that it's okay. Sometimes a deep stretch, deep sensation can feel like a bit of a threat to the musculature. So we just sort of use movement to balance that activation and allow the body to calm down. We'll slowly come out, switching sides now, so you can extend your right leg long and start to bicycle the left leg. So in, out, and around. Again, here, this is sort of equal parts stretch and engagement. So you might feel that your hip flexor does have to engage a little bit to support the length of your leg as it moves out and away. And then we'll reverse the direction. Breathing all the while, allowing your energy to settle now that we're in this supine position, this active resting position. And then take your hands behind your left thigh. Start to straighten that leg as best as you can by flexing the quadriceps. So you're trying to press the back of the knee away from you. At the same time, anchor your right heel into the mat for support. And then lift evenly through the big toe and pinky toe side of that left foot. You might encourage the left thigh a little bit closer to belly. Feel that hamstring stretch. And then start to circle the foot. So pointing, flexing, letting some of that blood drain away from the foot. Again, getting the benefit of inversion here, where we're taking blood from the major muscle group in the left leg and delivering it to the vital organs in the belly, the heart. So again, you might start to feel that almost like when your limb falls asleep. So you start to feel that a little bit in the foot as the blood drains away. But again, that's sending blood through the knee, into the hip and the torso. So this is great work for the health and longevity of your knee joint, hip joint. And slowly kind of let that leg relax. So now we're letting the blood flow back to that leg. Just kind of let it softly bounce up and down. And then take your left knee out wide, happy baby now on this side. Use your right hand to anchor your right hip down. Encourage the left hip out beside you. Press the sole of the foot into the earth. So using the hand to encourage that movement. Nice big breaths here. You might kind of lift and lower the heel until you feel the right sensation. Spinal twist is next. Take that knee across your body. Gaze over your left shoulder. Again, let the left knee be very heavy. And you're just using that clasp of the right hand to keep it in position. Can you soften the belly, soften the lower back, and just breathe into this passive twist. So shifting into receiving mode, which can be a bit of a challenge if you're someone who really loves the active workouts. So that giving, that doing, it's that masculine quality. And sometimes it can be hard to let go and to just really receive in these active rest days. Come back through center, across the left ankle over right knee. Hug the shape of your legs into your body. Again, you might use your left elbow here to open the left knee. And just gently rock side to side. So feel that pulse of energy that allows you to move even in the presence of a static stretch. Shoulders stay nice and relaxed. You might even start to soften your gaze or close your eyes. You're just allowing the outer hips, outer leg to stretch and move. And then we'll slowly let both feet come to the mat. Let your knees splay open into a butterfly. And then we'll just start to open and close the knees here. So getting that external rotation, abduction, adduction in the hips. Then you can hug the knees in, start to take that movement now with some circles. So open wide and close. Reversing the direction. And then slowly let the knees come down. Feet are wide. Windshield wiper the knees side to side once again. And then let your knees knock in, your feet wide. Bring a hand to heart, a hand to belly. We won't be here too long, just a few moments to kind of integrate that active rest and recovery and to connect deeply to the breath so that you can kind of set that baseline quality of recovery on this rest day. So deep, full breaths in and out through the nose. Can you soften the muscles in your face? Relax around the eyes, the eyebrows. Soften the jaw, move your jaw side to side. Let your body be heavy. And sort of reframe the relationship to that heaviness. So I know for myself, I don't like feeling tired or with little energy. So I don't like feeling heavy. But when you can shift your relationship to that sensation, to being grounded, to feeling calm, that you can move slowly, not because you have a lack of energy, but because you have an abundance of calm. It starts to get easier to welcome those moments when the body is needing recovery, when the body is needing to slow down. And so I love the ovulatory phase for making that conscious shift. Letting that be sort of the peak of the arc where we then intentionally start to move in the other direction, move more inward, move more slowly. Let's enjoy a big breath together in through the nose. And with a sigh, let it out. Start to roll to one side of your body, nice and slow. And let there be no rush as you make your way up to a comfortable seat. So take your time. Again, this is a rest day practice. So even as you come up now from a supine position, you might have that lingering quality of kind of calm, of feeling at ease, maybe even a little bit heavy. But can you allow that to be a really great thing? Can you allow that to have a positive impact on the rest of your day where you're not feeling weighed down, you're not feeling tired, but you're just feeling grounded and at ease? So letting that mindset kind of settle and create a home in your body. Giving yourself this time to transition however you need to from your rest day practice to the rest of your day so that you can come back more energized for the work that remains in the rest of the cycle. So we're not sort of taking off from exercise in the luteal phase, but we really create that conscious shift. And I love using this phase to kind of set that in motion and to create that intention for the rest of your cycle. So thank you for being here, for moving and loving on your joints with me, for letting your body be moved.